Okay, calm down.
In terms of, the comment that it would be peace on Russia's terms, isn't peace better than war? Peace on Russia's terms better than endless war? I mean,
Well,
and when is it going to not be also like Russia does have an advantage because of the size of the country, and when is it not going to have that advantage?
well, there's this issue of peace on Russian terms. First of all, if you believe, which I believe, that the Russians wanted to come in and get rid of the Zelensky government and install a pro-Russian government in Ukraine, they obviously weren't able to do that. So they lost already. They are trying to hold on to the 20% that they managed to get back, and also Crimea, which they've had since 2014. But they're certainly not getting the whole of Ukraine. And so it really becomes an issue of where do you draw the line in the Donbass, and what happens to the people in Crimea, and when, at what point can they have an internationally supervised referendum where they get to decide what their fate will be. Those are the kinds of things that have to happen. So each side has to make compromises. That's what negotiations are about. And they have to sweeten those compromises so they can go back to their own people and put them in some kind of context as if there were a win for this. That's what you can call an off ramp. That's what Biden said that Putin needed a while back. Everybody needs an off ramp. Zelensky needs one. Putin needs one. And the US and NATO need one as well. You don't talk to your friends, you talk to your adversaries. There are plenty of reasons to think that Putin is a terrible, brutal invader who should, at some point in his life, face charges of war crimes. But now is not the time to do that. Now is the time to get him to sit down at the table. And, there are people during that uprising of Prigozhin and the Wagner Group who thought, oh, great, this could be the end of Putin. Uh-oh, if that was, imagine if you had somebody else who came in, chances are they would be much more brutal than Putin is, much more nationalist than Putin is. In fact, the kind of condemnation or opposition that Putin is getting inside Russia includes not only people who want to end this war and are going to jail for their opposition, but includes a lot of people who don't think he has been tough enough. And those are the ones who would have the upper hand if something happened to Putin.
What about the claim Russia has to be stopped or Putin will invade Ukraine? I see this in the comments, but I also hear this all the time.
Well, Russia has to be stopped. That's true. Russian troops have to get out of Ukraine. But the way to do that, again, is to go for negotiations and to sweeten it. There's a lot of things that the U.S. could do. The U.S. could talk to Russia about U.S. bases that are in Romania and Poland that are a tremendous provocation. We don't have to say that we like the fact that powerful countries have their own interests that have to be taken into account. I don't like the fact that the U.S. has invaded countries all over Latin America because it thinks it has that this is our sphere of influence. But just look what happened recently when there were unsubstantiated rumors that the Chinese had a listening post in Cuba. And there are Republicans who want to go and bomb places in Cuba. This is to say that the U.S. says it's totally unacceptable for China to have some kind of military base inside Cuba so close to the United States. Well, that's what Russia has been saying about Ukraine for a long time. So we can't be so hypocritical to think that the U.S. has the right to have its sphere of influence, but to negate the idea that a powerful country like Russia also has its interests that have to be taken into account.